Howdy, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Reseller Niche Podcast. I'm here with my buddy Russ. How's it going, Russ?
It's going great, Mo. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm on allergy medicine, but I think I'm good right now. I just had some
So, if you
Coca-Cola.
just pass out at the chair, should we just continue, or I'll
Well,
wait till you hit the?
I snore, so you can probably tell I'm still not. I'm not. I'm around. If you'll hear me
Oh, okay,
snoring,
okay.
so I should be okay. So, I think me and Russ were kind of debating what to talk about, and we were going to try and go a little bit off path from what we've talked about before. And we were going to talk about stuff we enjoy reselling because it's also kind of a hobby or an interest or something we'd love to watch or participate in or something like that. And we kind of came to one thing we both kind of enjoy. It's kind of a play on words. We both like football, American and English or non-American football. So we're going to kind of discuss a little bit about that and then kind of go from there and see where that leads in terms of what we like to sell in relation to that and so forth. So do you want to get started, Russ?
Well, let's call it what it is, Mo. It's football and soccer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to say it's football. That's the easiest way to do it. Let's go football and
yeah,
soccer.
that's football and soccer. But
Exactly.
it is funny that you say, I have some international friends, and I'll say, oh, they'll say something about football, and I'll have to remember that they're talking about soccer. They're
Yeah.
as my German friend says, football.
Football.
So it's good. And you are much more knowledgeable, and so I told you earlier, I know nothing about soccer. I don't.
Well, this is
I
good.
I could pick up the hottest jersey and go. What I would guess Ronaldo. I could pick up a Ronaldo jersey. Is he still hot?
There's another guy called Ronaldo actually that's but this guy's like,
Right.
but
So I
yeah.
could pick that up and go, oh yeah, I've heard of that guy, and then just go. It's not something, and it's good for me to learn that because
No, that's
it
good.
is
That's
out
good
there.
because a lot of stuff I don't know about that what you're going to talk about, so we can both learn from each other a little bit. So, do you want to get started or?
Sure. And the thing about football that you think about is, yeah, we all have our favorite pro teams, we all have our favorite college teams. But one of the things I thought about, and I've done a lot of reselling, is in the lower, not lower, in the starter areas.
Yeah.
They have Pee Wee football leagues all throughout the country, and I think they call them, or I'm sorry, Pop Warner
Yeah.
is what they
Yeah.
call it. Yeah, Pop Warner football. Those kids all have to get shoes. They have to. I've sold cleats.
Yeah.
I've sold small pads. I've sold, um, you know, some other accessories on that level. And if you think about the amount of kids that are playing Pop Warner football, and then into high school and into that level, there's a lot of potential sales right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And
it kind of it's like what you said, we're not even necessarily even talking about the playing of the game. It's preparing to play for the game and the stuff around it, kind of.
yeah, because so many parents buy online now, and they're looking for that deal. And if I pick up a pair of cleats for $1, $2, then you sell them for 20, 25, 30 if they're good cleats.
Yeah.
And they'll pay that. And because the cleats, if they go to the sports stores, those cleats are $60, $70.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have a cleat store actually. I never played football. I played soccer. And then the first time I played it, I think I was 7th or 8th grade, something like that. And my mom was too cheap to buy me cleats. So I got a hand-me-down pair, which I didn't really care about. That's fine.
Right.
But then you have these shin guard things. So the ones I got were also hand-me-downs, but I don't know if you remember old shin guards. It's basically foam and a plastic little board in the front.
Right, right.
The foam on the back was worn out. So I basically had 2 pieces of plastic on my shins. And then so she said, oh, it's okay. Here's some extra socks. So I used to wear 3 or 4 pairs of socks, 2 on the
She,
inside,
Mac-
2 on the outside.
she
And then,
MacGyvered you up.
yep. And she said, that's good enough. You're only going to play 12 games or whatever it was. So,
Right. That's smart family economics right there.
yes, it wasn't my household.
You take that from parents and man, the equipment. And then, I know people that have 2, 3 boys and they're all playing a different level of Pop Warner or they're,
Yeah.
so, and then they, one's in high school, one's in Pop Warner, one's in junior league, whatever. So, and boys outgrow shoes quickly in a certain period.
Yeah.
They hit 11, they hit 12, they're growing, they're changing shoes fast. So, is it a hot selling item? They sit, the right person has to come along. I've never had a pair of cleats sell in a day, but
Yeah.
yeah. And again, I've sold stuff off season too. I mean, here we're talking baseball season. So, I mean, it's baseball season now. We're talking football. Then you go up, you got high school ball.
Yeah.
And again, equipment to that thing, because if you see a high school football team jersey or something like that, typically they reuse those jerseys. You're not going to see them, or you see helmets or something like that. You're not going to see those like specific for the team. They keep their equipment on that. But the neck rolls, there's a part that goes underneath your pad and it comes up and supports your neck. The linebackers like to wear them.
Okay.
I'll see those, and those are typically, I think the last one I found was in Lexington, Kentucky Goodwill, or Paris, Kentucky Goodwill, and I paid like $3.99. I sold it for like $50.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
some of that equipment can get extensive, or can make you some nice money, and that sold quick.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
there wasn't a lot out there.
So
And,
other than the
some of
cleats, because I know you have to have cleats. If you were to take the cleats out of the equation, because everybody knows what cleats are, what are the
Right.
other? I know we kind of touched on some of the other things, but you mentioned that generally a high school team's going to have its own helmet and its own kind of jersey thing. The rest you have to
Right, they're
buy.
gonna have, typically you're gonna buy some, maybe a rib protector. A lot of quarterbacks like to wear those, and receivers like to wear those rib protectors. You can find those. You're gonna wear some, linemen are gonna wear their forearm pads. But forearm pads get extremely dirty. Most people don't buy used forearm pads.
Okay.
Yeah, on that, the neck roll stuff that I talked about, that's kind of what you would buy for a high school level kid.
Okay.
And, now, of course, something else too that fits into that is all levels wear, the dry fit underneath.
Okay.
So,
And that's
so,
relatively new. What did they wear before dry fit? I mean, I'm guessing dry fit's in the last 10, 15 years, or?
Yeah, back in the day, we wore cotton.
Okay.
Yeah, just to try to get that off. But yeah, so they all wear the dry fits underneath. This new armband thing that I see in certain levels, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's supposed to do. And now I know they do a lot of that skin stuff on the elbows now.
Yeah.
Where we used to, the receivers use it. That's a per use type thing.
Okay.
But yeah, high school level, your cleats, your pad accessories like the neck rolls, that type of thing. Then you jump up to college level, and that is just think about how many college teams are out there. How many people go to a football game on Saturday?
Yeah.
How much merchandising can you see out there? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Every time we go to the store, you see some college team, sports apparel, hoodies. And it's funny when we were in Lexington, Kentucky, Kentucky is of course in the SEC, and I'd forgotten that they played in Lexington, and they were like, "Oh, there's a game today." And I'm like, "Oh, who's playing?" And they said, "Well, Florida." And I said, "Oh, who's Florida playing?" And it was Kentucky. But there was Kentucky stuff everywhere in the Goodwills up there. It's Kentucky.
Yeah.
If it's in good shape and you have that, and it's decent price, and it's a good good shape, good outfit, go ahead and give it a shot, because there are fans of those teams not living in their state anymore. This example, this is baseball. I have a hard time finding Cardinal hats.
Okay, that makes sense.
I have to, yeah, because I'm in Georgia. The St. Louis Cardinals are in, of course, in St. Louis. So I have a hard time finding them. So when I see them, I grab them. And the stores don't carry Cardinal hats here. So you have to buy your sports apparel. If you're out of state, you're buying it online.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've sold stuff from college teams all across the country. You wouldn't, it'd be like an Alabama. I sold an Alabama or Ole Miss tapestry bag one time that you carry to the game. It went to like Arizona. Nice. Now, you wouldn't think there'd be Ole Miss fans in Arizona, but because we're such a movable society now, there's everything. Everything's open on that, and you go where the jobs are. You follow your heart. You follow a mate. You can end up anywhere. That's true.
That's why I got this isn't college, but I just happen to have this. I think I have this for sale. But this is a little seat cushion thingy.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Citibank, I guess. But yeah, that kind of stuff.
I mean, they put, there is nothing they won't put a college team on. I mean, literally any apparel, any hat, any seat, any chair, like you have that seat. Who would think a tapestry bag?
Yeah, that's true.
It was a tapestry woven Ole Miss bag, and it sold. And it's just, you wouldn't think stuff. Now your hats and everything, that's a different level. You've got to have the good hats, vintage college hats. I have found some vintage college ball caps or trucker caps, and man, those go quick. Because people like to wear the vintage stuff, and
oh yeah,
and you'll find some of the stuff like you're California. You'll find stuff for the SEC there.
Yeah, we find a lot. Like, I'll tell you something I find, and it's always a mismatch. Blankets, like you said, woven.
Yeah.
Some of them are fleece. Some of them are kind of like it's like heavy fleece, and like big things.
Those are your. That's for your Big 18 or your, what do they call it now, the upper Pac-10 and the what's Michigan play. They all wear blankets up.
You need it. I mean, if you're sitting out there in November, December, or October,
and then take and look at the aspect of how much potential is there in the pregame. What do they call it? The tailgating. You got to have your team spirit. You got to have your team spirit barbecue pit. You got to have your team, forks. You got to have your team plates. You got to have your team. They just go absolutely crazy for it. And down here in the South, it's a religion. And you're graded when you die how good of an SEC fan you were. Or I have to give some of my friends shout out. ACC's in there too, but yeah, but we all know they're pretenders. So, and it's huge. It's so huge when you really think about the potential that you can find, and it's always out there. How much sports paraphernalia do you pass up every time you go out?
It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. And you're right that in your city, you're going to see obviously predominantly your area teams, colleges, universities.
Right.
But so that's why if you find something that's kind of out of the ordinary from a different place, that's kind of cool. Because obviously I see a lot of Cal stuff, Stanford,
right.
Some other like Santa Clara, that kind of stuff.
And that's a great source because there's a lot of Caltech that has gone throughout. They're such a good school that people go there from all over the country. It's not
Berkeley it has a huge following. I mean,
yeah. So you've got that, and then you think of like, you're not gonna find equipment that college is gonna use. You know, you're not gonna sell to a college team unless you're a private label or you're a, you know, they get most of their equipment.
Yeah, from a distributor or something. Yeah.
Well, they get it as, you know, sponsorships and same way with the pros. You know, now if you get some of that equipment, then yeah, it's sellable. You know, if you had a helmet, an actual Notre Dame helmet that somebody snuck out or somehow, you know, it was an old one they gave away, an actual game helmet, yeah, that's a viable, sellable option. I've never seen any myself,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I mean, I've seen them like in glass cases, you know, at like sports store. Because back I want to say 15 years ago, they used to have a lot more. I don't know if they have them where you are. Sports, just memorabilia stores,
Yeah.
and you'd always see like a glass helmet, and around here would be probably like either a Raider or a Niner signed
Yeah.
thing, and then you don't see them as much anymore. I mean, every now and then you do. Because they used to be card stores, but those aren't really around
Yeah,
anymore.
those are the sports card stores. They kind of died out. That's a good point. You know, you think about like sports cards. There are some that are still valuable, but you
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
want
mean,
to go.
sports cards. I mean, it's funny. I came to the U.S. in '89, so I just dated myself right there. But one of the first things I got into was obviously the sports. I mean, I wasn't used to watching any American sports at all. So one of my aunts got me. This isn't football, but she got me a baseball almanac for 1989. So I read that thing from cover to cover because it has
Yeah,
more stats than I've seen in any other sport by far. So I mean, I used to know that, who won. I mean, I was, I liked Eric Davis for some reason, even because Mr. 3750 and all this stuff, even though he's nowhere near me. But so that's that was right at the end, I want to say, of the card era, I guess,
yeah.
late 80s, early
When it
90s.
tanked, yeah, when
Yeah.
it was still, yeah. Now, if you find older sports cards, older football cards, yeah, there's going to be value in them.
Yeah.
There's always going to be value in that kind of stuff. The Gale Sayers rookie card is always going to have some value.
I mean, I have a friend who deals only in cards, sports cards, and I've taken a look at his store, and it's literally like I asked him how he's getting these. He buys them for like 100, and he sells them for like 4 to 5 to 1,000. So that's kind of you have to basically buy high and sell high
Yeah,
because that's otherwise. I'm sure you've seen thrift stores where they have boxes and boxes of
oh, yeah,
80s, 90s baseball cards just sitting there. They're like,
yeah.
and I know people have sold them. I've seen some videos recently where people sold baseball cards, but it's a tough thing to do. Football cards, basketball cards, all of that is really, really
You
tough.
hit a diamond in the rough on those occasionally. I would say, you really you can hit a diamond, but there's even new packs.
Yeah.
You can still buy tons and tons of, unopened packs everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Going back to the college level, one thing that I've seen, and actually there was a market for it. Everything has a price for the right person. Is they make the championship ring. They'll make many levels of championship rings. Some for the level one, level two. They used to have a national second division championship and all that, but those rings.
Yeah.
They're repos. I mean, they're not an actual ring. Now, if you get an actual championship ring, yeah, there's some value in that. But even the reproductions, somebody likes to have something like that occasionally. Franklin Men, I think, used to sell some reproduction rings, or one of the Jolstons. They used to sell the last 5 titles from Alabama. And here's the set you could get. So even the small stuff. So literally in college ball, everything and anything is is open.
Let me ask you one thing, because I remember in high school the big deal was to have a Letterman jacket, and I knew people that actually, maybe because this is, it's not, back when you had to achieve the letter to get the jacket. I know
Right,
people that
right.
had the jacket that didn't have the actual letter or the patch or whatever they give you when you play the sport. So is that still? I mean, I've never actually seen those in thrift stores where people are selling those.
I've heard to watch out for them and to grab them just because they are nostalgia. Um, I've I've not seen one,
Okay.
and yeah, I mean, but I've heard to look out for them. More so on the high school level.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
I
think
don't do they
college
have them
does
in
it.
college or
Yeah, I don't think they do it as much anymore. I may be wrong, but I don't. They always show up in suits and ties at the games
yeah.
anymore. You know, and
Yeah, because I know around here, because we've had, like every state, you get an athlete that comes out of college, high school. So the high school, the like around, I've seen Jason Kidd jerseys. I've seen like,
yeah,
who else is around. There's a couple other, all the athletes, anyone that won the Bay Area, you see their jerseys every now and then. Um,
yeah. You see,
so, but usually not. What I've seen is basketball jerseys.
gotcha. Yeah. Another thing to think about, Mo, is a fashion apparel that fits a college team that you wouldn't know about. I think, you know, most people have seen the gray gingham that Alabama wears.
Yeah,
And you'll see people with the shirt on or a hat. And what that is the legendary coach from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, Paul Bryant, he wore those hats. So you'll see like that gingham in a skirt. It may not have Alabama on it, but
it's the
man,
style.
that's a style, and it will sell to an Alabama fan. There's other, I'm sure that's the only one I specifically can think of right now where, you've got, what's the Clemson, is it Clemson that does the Iron Man?
Yeah, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Another thing, I mean, who was it that made it famous to have the? There was a sweater he used to wear. Um, I don't know if that was. I forget. I'm forgetting. It was a football coach, but
Yeah,
he would have the sweater, and everyone copied that.
he always had a sweater vest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was the man. Now you're going to make me remember coaches. I can't even remember coaches now. They changed so fast. He was for Ohio State,
okay,
and
okay.
yeah, and he wore, always wore right, stuff like that. Think of that if you know a team that has something like that. That's a sellable college item. I have sold some, especially when I lived in Alabama. Man, I'd snatch up that gingham stuff, and it'd sell.
Yeah, I think
So
around. I mean, I think I guess the biggest college. I'm trying to think of the biggest college coach from around here. My knowledge isn't that great though. So I mean, I think of more of like national team coaches. Like Bill Walsh actually coached at a Fremont high school, I believe, because I'm
draft,
from Fremont,
yeah,
Washington High School. So they always go on
yeah,
about, oh, he used to coach here first. That he used to live around the block here before he went to the Niners.
awesome. Yeah, see
So
stuff like that, and say you found a picture. Somebody's got a yearbook with Bill Walsh as the coach.
yeah,
That's a sellable item. So
yeah. If you can find it, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
then,
just always kind of keep on the sports lookout at it because there's somebody out there that, you know, they 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 may pay. You never know. So once you get into the pro level, now you're talking. College does have jerseys, but they don't tend to. You typically don't wear a player's jersey in college too long. He's only there a couple years.
that's true. And these days, it could be 1 year. I mean,
It could be 1 year. It could be, yeah. I mean, they do so many of them take the early out, or
yeah,
early draft. Some of them, so you do see them, but it's not as big as when you step up to the pros. Man, I mean, how many pro jerseys have you seen that you passed up, Mo?
oh yeah, You
You
see
know,
them everywhere.
see them everywhere, and you're like, man, you know what? And of course, now you're talking nostalgia jerseys. Now you're talking, you find a John Elway jersey, it's going to sell. Somebody's going to grab that because think about what people do with those. I've seen, me being a minimalist, I wouldn't even dream of doing this, but this is what, these guys that have these man caves, they'll have a jersey of every one of their favorite players.
Oh yeah.
You know, oh, that I've got family up in Pittsburgh, and they've got Star Wars jersey up on the wall, and they've got Terry Bradshaw's, and it's just they got a Roethlisberger jersey up on the wall in a frame, and so that kind of stuff. The people are looking for that, and then they wear it game.
Oh
The
yeah.
merchandising to me is not as big in the NFL as it is in college.
Okay.
It's there, but they put so much of it out, and it's all licensed. It's all controlled, but they just put so much of it out, and I typically don't, unless it's really a unique item. I don't touch them.
I mean, what about like one thing I've gone into a little bit recently. I mean, it's hard to find them, but I shouldn't say recently. Probably about 5 years ago, starter jackets and chalk line jackets,
Yeah,
and who are the other ones? It's like big. I think it's Big Louie or Frank Louie or something like that. But anyways, all those satin jackets.
those are big. Yeah, those are still big.
Yeah,
I know one of my family had a Raiders one out in your area, and I think he got 500 for it.
yeah,
It
easily.
was a vintage. So that's yeah, those jackets, man. You can find those, you can source those. Again, that takes your research. And one thing about when you're dealing on, say, when he dealt with that $500 jacket, it was, he got worked over pretty good. Where are the spots? What's the zipper like? I mean, it's for $500, it better be good. And that's because those guys are collectors. They're hardcore collectors. They're gonna make sure that it's valuable.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so you're if you're gonna do something like that, you may want to consider selling it under market price. You know, because
I think
then
with
you
satin
yeah
jackets, they kind of got flooded for a bit, and then they kind of went away, and now it's really hard to find um, ones that aren't
yeah
messed up. You see
yeah.
a lot of threading mess up, and then tear. I've sold some recently. I sold a UNLV jacket actually, and the UNLV, like the running rebel, was kind of all messed up.
Kind of
It was-
yeah. I
And
remember
then
you showed it. I saw that one. It was kind of yeah,
yeah,
kind of.
but I mean,
But it
it still
sold.
went. Yeah, it
Yeah, it
sold.
still went. Do you
It
remember
sold.
what profit you got on that?
I bought it for under 15. It was $12 to $15 somewhere in there, and I think I sold it for between 60 and 70.
Yeah.
So not crazy profit. I started it originally around 200, and it
But
just sat and sat and sat, and then I dropped it to 100, and then somebody offered me 70, I think, and I took it.
yeah, so it
So I
did
mean,
go. So it
yeah, no, it went. I had to. I mean, you have to disclose. It's very obvious threading mess up there, and I
oh
can't
yeah,
fix that.
yeah. And I guess maybe that's town specific because yeah, I see Cleveland stuff, Cleveland Brown
Okay.
stuff. I don't get it. I wouldn't get Cleveland Brown because one, those fans are pretty hard on their clothes up there. It's almost like a mosh pit from and I know, hey, if you're in Cleveland, sorry, but this is the way everybody looks at Cleveland. And, the Browns are never going to be in it, so it's just not a valuable thing.
Well, now
And,
probably the Eagles are Eagles stuff. I haven't looked at it recently, but I'm guessing that's doing pretty well.
oh, yeah,
So
can you imagine? Yeah, because everybody, you know, what do they say right before the Super Bowl? You go find that stuff, you list it, it sells
yeah.
for triple, and yeah. Yeah, so it is winning specific. People aren't as loyal to their NFL team as much as they are their college team. they're
I think
loyal to
it's
their
the college.
college team
It's
for life.
you might have gone there. You might
Yeah.
live down the block from it. Not that you don't live down the block from your local sports team as well, but I think that a college is more like, I don't know, a
Co-
part of the,
college college hits more to the hometown heart or the home
yeah,
state heart. You know, like I said, you went there. You know, your kids went there. Your dad went there. Your family. You know, one of your grandfather went there, and your grandfather loved Georgia Tech, and that's where you know. So you're going to kind of like Georgia Tech, and you may like him for the rest of your life. You know, be loyal to him. NFL's not. They've had their problems, and
yeah.
you know it's gotten super expensive to go to a game. It's getting so their fan base is dropping. I mean, it's their games are not. Yeah, but you've got certain towns that always, you know, if you run across Milwaukee, not Brewers, Green Bay Packer stuff,
Yeah.
it's going to sell. They're
I
Denver
have a cheese
stuff.
head somewhere. Once I get done moving, I have a little bit of memorabilia from different cities that people in my family have lived in. My
Yeah.
brother was in Wisconsin, so he got me a cheese head years ago.
Wait, so that's a vintage cheesehead, man.
It's from the mid '90s or the late
Yeah,
'90s. Yeah,
vintage cheesehead. So and they still wear them.
yeah.
You'll watch a game, they're still wearing them. And so you know if they've been going to games for 20 years with their cheesehead, they're looking for that cheesehead, Mo.
Oh yeah. And the funny thing is, what my friends would always borrow it for Halloween because you don't really see. I mean, now maybe you see them all over the place, but back then you didn't.
Right.
So I had a Favre jersey and I had a cheesehead, so they'd always borrow those and go to Halloween together. And back in the '90s, that was when
Favre was good.
Favre
So
was the man. So
they always did the Lambo leap somewhere.
yes,
Yeah. So it's a little bit tougher in the to me it's a little bit tougher in the pro league. The vintage stuff. If you find a vintage, I think I found a vintage Miami hat down in Florida with the old logo on it.
yeah,
And that's something too. If you want to dig into, you know, we always say research equals knowledge equals profit. Know those old logos and grab those.
and right
And
now I think with it's funny you say that because I want to say about 2 to 3 weeks ago I sold a Cowboys hat, and it looked funny to me. I just thought, what is this? Because in the '90s everything was kind of off-centered, very colorful, which is back now. But
right,
they called it, what do they call it? Splash art or splash? Oh, I'm blanking on it. But anyways, it was basically like color art. It went from one side down here all the way across the top,
right, yeah.
and I listed for 50, and it went in about 3 hours.
You and you when you do that, don't you always think, oh man, maybe I
Yeah,
could have, yeah, but
I
still
got
you made
messages on Instagram. I got messages like, "Oh, is that hat still there?" Is that? And it wasn't even the best shape, even. But
but it was a vintage logo or a vintage hat
yeah, the
or
style, I
in the
guess,
style.
it
Yeah.
wasn't even the starter. It was like a logo 7, I think.
If you look at a game today, you see that people still wear their team apparel. So they're trying to be, you know, the ones that are trying to be unique. They're trying to stand, I guess, stand out or just be different. And even, you know, hats have become a thing now. It's like, oh, where'd you find that hat? Where did you get
Yeah,
that? You know, so yeah, those vintage NFL hats, they will go. But yeah, learn those logos to where you can look at it and go, and even learn different eras because, like I said, that hat went quick.
yeah. The other one that
So
I haven't sold recently, but I think it's the shark tooth one. That kind of, it's like a jagged design, whatever team it is. It's also kind of, it's like a big splash of color, and it has like a jagged edge to it. I think they
can't
call it the
remember
shark tooth.
Shark
Um,
Tooth. Can't remember which one
all
had
my
that.
college and NFL teams had that. So
Oh yeah, yeah. You mean the overall style? Yeah,
yeah, I think they call it the
yeah.
shark tooth or something like that, or shark something.
Something and yeah, and it what's the best thing to think about is like, man, you know, put it up there. If you think it, put it up there. Somebody's going to offer you what it's worth,
Oh
or
yeah,
you'll drop it down if you've got it valued too much. You can't sell it if you don't have it bought and listed.
that's true.
So,
It
because
doesn't exist.
what do you pay for hats out there, Mo? What,
I don't like to pay more than $5, and that's if it's super nice. generally I pay between 99 cents and 2.99
Right.
at
So
the
take a
Goodwill.
risk.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, I don't get into the hat game completely, but I'm addicted to hats. I mean,
I am
as
too.
soon
The
as
problem is that I've seen is that they're a little saturated now, I would say,
oh,
for
I think I
like
saw one number 17,000 listed or something like
yeah.
that. So,
So your basic, even if it's like a 90s basic starter hat or it's not gonna go. The ones I like to find, if I can find them, are like the spell outs, like and any of like because 90s is hot right now. So if you can find like a LA hats do well. LA
yeah,
Raiders, LA Kings, even the White Sox hats, anything that like early hip hop kind of guys would wear.
right,
And because it was kind of there was in all the videos and things. So
right. It was,
that kind of
you
stuff,
know,
if you can find it.
on that aspect too, I just had this thought about like keeping up with hot, just on the baseball side of it right now. The what's the guy Shinto
Yeah,
in yeah, is that how you is it
I'm not
Shinto
sure. I don't really
for the
watch too much
Angels?
baseball. I
Yeah,
don't watch
well,
too much baseball.
there's a kid. He's like 22, 23, 24. Came out of Japan. He's the designated hitter for the Angels, and
Oh,
he's a
okay.
pitcher. And
Okay.
his second game, he almost got a no hitter.
Nice.
So if you kind of keep up with that, or hear just kind of scan Google News, whatever, Google Sports, see who's running hot. Right now, I bet Angels hats are climbing up
And it's
just
funny.
because of him.
Oh yeah. And then I don't know if this is because I don't sell cards, and I don't know why I keep going back to cards, but my friend who does this, whenever somebody gets hot that hasn't, let's just, they're not like someone that's been good their entire career, but they get
Right.
hot all of a sudden, he'll go and buy their rookie cards and sell them immediately because there's a
Yeah.
short window usually. Because usually, I don't know if he's going to stay hot forever. He might, get injured next season. You don't know.
Right.
But right now, anything of his when he was a rookie is probably going to sell well.
Yeah. And that's the just the thought, that goes into our theme all along. Research equals knowledge equals profit. So that's about beats up football.
Yeah.
Get. I think we kind of covered all of the bases in that, or
I mean,
a baseball. We covered the field in football.
Yeah, so I mean, when you talk about like soccer, like in terms of memorabilia, or in terms of what to sell, I'm not actually that. I don't really have a great deal of knowledge on cleats. I think a lot of people that actually it's interesting. A lot of people that actually don't watch the game have a lot more knowledge than me about cleat sales. Just from watching like YouTube videos, I can see that. But it's actually ironic. It's one of the few things that I actually collect, but I don't really sell them, so I don't even know the real values. But what I do know is there's a big fake market out there for soccer jerseys, and I have a couple here. And I found these at the bin, so I didn't really spend too much. But like, see, Barcelona is a pretty big team out there. So this jersey, at a glance, looks relatively legitimate.
Gotcha.
If you can see that. But what you can't see, and what you're supposed to see with every logo, is every shirt, jersey has a brand, and this one doesn't. It just says FCB or something like that, which is okay, but it's also supposed to say Nike. It's supposed to be a Nike swoosh here, Nike. So this jersey is identical, except it is missing the Nike little swoosh and the little Nike like tag and everything like that. So this is a huge thing, and like in the soccer world, fake jerseys. And it's actually big with American sports too, like basketball jerseys, football
Oh,
jerseys
yeah.
too. But
Yeah. So every I guess like every jersey, football jersey, they're going to have. So same way, they're going to they have some type of sponsorship brand. It's going to be a
yeah,
Nike, it's going to be Adidas, it's going to be one of those, typically a shoe brand, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
in England, so I'll give you this is a real jersey. I'll give you this, and then obviously, it's obviously going to have a tag. There's an England jersey, and that Umbro is the brand in England. But you can tell the difference. I mean, this one I actually bought, so I know it's real. But then here is a fake England jersey, and
Hold those up a little bit to your
it's not the
left.
same year, but you can see the difference here. This is from the late 90s, early 2000s, right here. So this
Gotcha.
is
Yeah.
this is their old sponsor. They used to be sponsored by Umbro. Now this is by Goal, which technically might not be a fake. It might be kind of like a replica jersey. So I don't want to say this one's a fake 100%, but this is not a real jersey. Because one thing, you wouldn't say England on the back like this. It would have somebody's name or it would say
Gotcha.
nothing. So things like that to watch out for, because eBay is really cracking down. I don't know if they have a Vero out for jerseys, but I'm guessing the individual brands are not going to be happy if I have a fake Barcelona jersey. Nike's not going to be happy that I'm trying to sell that.
No, they get a little upset at that, yeah, and
Yes.
they will. You're just a small guy, and yes, they will pick on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this one, to be honest, when I looked at that orange jersey at a glance, I grabbed it at the bin, so it cost me less than $1. It was
Right.
with 300 other pieces, but it's pretty obvious. But actually, I mean, at a glance, I couldn't tell. I just like, oh, that looks relatively.
Close enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for further inspection when you get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, as far as in terms of getting stuff that sells in terms of what I like to buy for soccer is mainly jerseys, and I don't really resell them. To say, it's more of I can remember the tournament. For me, it's each tournament is I can tell which tournament. Like this is, let's see here. This is a replica jersey. This is a soccer jersey. This is a Scotland jersey from 1992.
Okay. Let me ask you that.
Yes.
Okay. So you say each tournament. I'm sitting here and I'll say, I'll see on the news or in the sports news, oh, it's the such and such tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, England is playing Germany, and it's like, yay, so next thing you know, like 3 months later, they're like, England's playing Germany for the championship. And then like 3-4 months later, they go, oh, big championship. Wait a minute, we're programmed for once a year championship.
Okay.
But there's all these, explain that difference to me.
Well, okay, there's two different things. One thing, you got club sides and you've got national sides. So that's one thing. So your club side, the only equivalent I could think of is like you've got like the New York Yankees are a club side, and the U.S. national baseball team is a national side.
Is a national side. Okay.
So, and then you got your two basic tournaments. You've got your World Cup, you've got in European Cup, or if you're in a different continent, the Asian Cup, or then you've got the Copa America, South American Cup, or in Africa, they've got their own tournament as well. So it depends which part of the year you're playing. And every 2 years is a tournament. There's a continental one, and then 2 years later, it's the world.
Gotcha.
So that's why it never stops. Because there's qualifiers for it. You have to. The second that tournament ends, 3 months later, there's qualifiers for the Continental Cup, and then when that cup ends, then you're qualifying for the World Cup again. It goes on forever. It's a never-ending cycle.
Okay. So does a player that's for a club side, does he also play for the national side?
If he's lucky enough.
Can he?
Only you have to get picked. But so it's like there's a pool of probably, I don't know, 20 to 50 players, and out of that, 22 I think go to the World Cup, or 25. Gotcha. I don't know what it is now, but it's they all don't get picked. And then so every year it's the club sides that that jersey I showed you before, Barcelona, that's a club side.
Right.
And then a lot of those players go on to play for their national teams as well.
So you could find a Barcelona jersey and a Italy jersey with the same name on it.
Yeah. I mean, there's Italian players on Barcelona. There's, French. There's probably, there's American players that play in Europe.
Right.
So you can get I don't know who's a hot American player right now. I should know that, but I don't. But for example, Ronaldo, for example, who's a different Ronaldo from the Brazilian we were talking about earlier. Is Portuguese. He plays for Real Madrid in Spain, plays for Portugal. So you can get a jersey with his name on the back of both of those if you wanted to.
Gotcha. So I can, okay. And then, so the tournaments.
Yes.
The tournaments are what happened every, the
two big tournaments every 2
specific
years. Yeah, like this year is the World Cup.
And
So-
if I'm not mistaken, like you said, I can tell what each tournament is. So each jersey for that tournament, for each tournament's different.
Yeah, actually, that's where the big money is. And actually, in England, it's a sore spot for a lot of people because a lot of parents go out and they want to buy their kids this year's World Cup jersey. And every single World Cup, they complain about the cost going higher. I forget what it is, but it's like £70, I think, or something ridiculous like that, which is, I don't know, $90.
Right.
Just for that replica jersey, and you buying it for an 11-year-old. I mean, and that's just a jersey. I'm sure if you get the shorts and the socks, that's going to be who knows how much together.
Right. You got it. And do they, well, you basically see those merchandise jerseys, right? I mean,
Yeah.
What's the chances of running through?
I'm finding a fake?
Well, no, and finding an actual game jersey.
Well,
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase
yeah.
it. Actually finding a match jersey.
Okay, like game day jersey. To be honest, what I've seen a lot on eBay, and you can type this in, you see a lot of them kind of raffled off on eBay for charity. Like it will say, if you type in go to eBay and type in soccer jerseys, the most expensive ones that have gone for most of the most expensive ones are either super old, like 30 or 40 years old, or they're like game day jerseys, like you said, and they were raffled off for a charity.
Gotcha. So they're highly
Thousands.
prized.
I've seen them for like 15, 20,000 pounds, something like that, or dollars. I forget which one, but
wow.
Yeah, those go for a lot. And then generally they don't, I mean, every now and then you see them throwing them into the stands. That's probably how you'll get them. But I don't see as much as I do. I'm not in England now, so I don't see it as much. But I mean, I think you see more game day jerseys here in thrift stores than I don't know if that's a question for anyone that's maybe in England right now. Do you see them in dealer? I think you call them charity shops. Do you see game day jerseys there? I mean, I would imagine not as much, but who knows? You never know.
You never know, right? So don't discount it. How would you even tell the difference? Just quality?
I think it might be the stitching. I don't know if for one thing, it will have the name of the person on the back. That's one, but anyone can get that stitched in. A lot of times when people get them, I know personally, you try and run out and immediately get them to sign it as well. And then you take a picture while they're doing that. That's one way, I guess.
Makes it authentic, right?
Exactly. Because for one thing I have, and I don't know if I haven't got it authenticated yet. My friend a few years ago gave me a hat. So he claims that it's a 1986 Boston Celtics hat that's signed by the complete team. I've seen it. It looks like that. I've never got it authenticated. I'll dig it out one of these days. But you can see, it says green, like AC green. It says it looks like it says Bird. It looks like it says McHale. I don't know if he's just messing with me, but I mean, that would be cool if it was. I should really get that authenticated.
Yeah, what's it going to cost to get it authenticated?
Not much.
Take it over.
It shouldn't be much.
Next time you're in Vegas, take it over there to Gold and Silver.
Yeah.
You walk in, hey, Chumley. So, you get it. Yeah. Okay. So, what's an average person going to find at a thrift store? Okay, tomorrow I'm going out. What should I look for as far as equipment? I see soccer balls, but are good soccer balls valuable?
Yes, they are. And every year they change. Every World Cup there's a new soccer ball. That's another thing.
Okay.
Every season there's a new, like with cleats, I should know more about cleats than I do. I don't know that much, but with cleats, cleats are sponsored by a certain player. And so every year those change, obviously, so cleats are hot. Some cleats go for good money. You see them in the thrift stores. You can pick them up like if Marshalls, and Ross, and places like that. Around where I am in the Bay Area, I never find good cleats at like a Marshalls or a Ross or something like that. I would have to go to like a Foot Locker or something to get a high-end Nike cleat for any sport, football or soccer or anything like that. But I've seen videos of people picking up like good cleats, like brand new Nike cleats, like nice ones at Ross and Marshalls and places like that. So there's a lot of other videos out there that will probably explain that better than I would,
more.
simply because I don't have the knowledge base in cleats. But other than cleats, in terms of reselling value, jerseys are big, and you can find them at any thrift store. Be careful though, like I said before, fakes. There's a lot of fakes out there. And you want to generally that comes down to the material. How is the stitching? How is the logo? How is the tag? Is it missing? Is the tag missing? Where is it placed? Right. That kind of stuff like that.
Now, and also there's some clubs. I know. I think Manchester United is the top-rated sports franchise in the world right now.
It kind of goes back and forth, but yeah, they're rated some astronomical number.
And so, if you see a Man U, is that something that you go, it's a Man U, it's going to sell eventually?
I've had issues selling soccer jerseys. I have a lot of Man U jerseys. I've seen them play, but I mean, they print so many of these things that, I mean, from what I see, the value of selling soccer jerseys is not, maybe it's just because I'm in the American market, I don't know, isn't as hot as selling like some of the basketball jerseys or football jerseys, like American football jerseys that I've seen. Right.
But there's soccer is still the number one played sport in the world. And also, if I'm not mistaken, because of how many kids play soccer.
So easy to play.
Yeah, and I've seen so many people now posting about like, oh, I'm going to watch this game or go, these are, it seems like the younger generation, the 20s, 30s below in American, they're grabbing soccer. They're grabbing hold of it. So.
It was, I mean, I don't know, the history of soccer in the U.S. is an interesting one. They tried to, I think it was from late 70s to the early 80s, had a major soccer league. It was the NACL or NASL or something like that, which was huge. It had like Pele on it there. They had all these huge stars. But it was kind of too much too soon, and it died. It didn't have the fan base. So, I mean, it's something that has to be more grassroots. And the problem with the U.S., in my opinion, I know we're getting off subject here, but I think American sports, there's too many good sports with huge fan bases. So you're going to have to take away from one of those to add to the other one. I mean, how do you do that? And
maybe that's, you look, my son, we had him in the soccer league. He's 30 now. When he was 5, he played soccer.
Yep.
So maybe that's why the 30-year-olds and below are grabbing it more so because that's it was that league they played. And here's the difference I've noticed in football, American football versus European football. In I don't know too many guys my age that are playing in a football league. Maybe a touch league, maybe something like that. But there's soccer leagues for seniors.
Yep.
There's soccer leagues. There's soccer leagues all around. I've seen it in the Midwest. I've seen it in the South, where I'm playing soccer tonight. It's a great form of exercise.
Oh yeah, so, I used to play in adult league for years and years and years. That's how I shattered my leg actually.
That's right. Yeah, I remember you telling me that story. Yeah. So yeah. So keep that in mind too, that's a potential because there's equipment to be bought through that. There's the shoes, the shin guards, the gloves for the goalies, the balls, if you do see, or what other kind of things would you think an adult soccer league
adult soccer league, basically they provided the jersey. That's one thing they provided. The rest you got yourself. So everyone's getting cleats, obviously, shin guards, long socks, like soccer socks, usually like knee length socks. And that's about it. Other than that, like it doesn't get that cold around here. You get like similar, like you said, kind of a dry fit type long shirt. And then people even, some of them had like gloves.
Yeah.
It's California. I don't know why they really needed them, but they would have like these little black glove type things. Nike makes them, I think. So it's just, if you, we're basically just trying not to get injured. So, to add to that, I guess they would have a lot of, I don't know what you call it, but basically it looks like, not plastic, but elastic, and you would pull it up over your thighs, and it would go underneath your shorts, basically. And it's kind of like suctions in your legs, so basically it's harder for you to pull a hamstring. Similar to what they wear in basketball on their arms, but
Gotcha. Okay.
on your thighs, basically. So you'd see every single adult player was wearing those on both sides. You see these like things from right above the knee to like all going up their shorts, and it's just so you don't pull something. I have them. I used to use them all the time because I'd pull things left and right. So
You got it. So then you're talking into my area because sports creams.
Yes.
Yeah, knee braces.
You don't want to chafe.
Yeah, you got a little hurt here. You got now you got some sports medicine to talk about in that aspect. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can really get in. To be honest, I spent more time preparing mentally to get up because we play these games and they be on Sundays, and you get up, you have to be there at 8 a.m, and the ground, even though we're in California, the grass is always a little bit wet.
Oh.
And then nobody wants to get up, and you've got a bunch of 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds. And like everyone, you can see them strolling out there very, very slowly. So
I'd creak and pop. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is hilarious. But I mean, no, I'm definitely the adult sporting. I mean, the adult sporting arena is huge because you're only gonna buy. Like I remember, I bought my shoes to play in that league that Friday night. I think it was before that Sunday. You go straight in and you buy whatever it was. There isn't. Oh, I'm gonna check it here. No. I went in.
You're gonna buy. Yeah.
You're gonna.
Is that something adult used soccer cleats would
No.
you think people no?
I mean, I think you're gonna see more if they're used cleats. They're probably gonna be from a high school or a college kid or below.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna get new ones, and if it's like someone like me, I'm probably not gonna. I'm gonna keep it, and I'm gonna because I'm gonna use it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I remember my last pair of cleats, I shouldn't say cleats, is a cleat, because when I broke my leg, they had to cut it in half. They had to cut down, they had to cut my socks, my shin guards, and my cleat off because they couldn't take it off. So I have one cleat, one sock, and one shin guard left that I kept.
You got.
They call me Mr. Glass, but not for a good reason.
Maybe we need to talk about this minimalist movement again,
yes.
Mo. One cleat. Is that now on the human side of that? Why do you keep that one cleat?
Oh, it's fun. As I remember the last time I played, and this is going back. It's got to be 8 years or something like that since I went out there.
So it's a nostalgia thing. It's a memory. Yes. It's a memory thing. Okay.
My one cleat. I kept it.
You kept your one cleat. Did you get it signed? Have the other guy sign it?
No. I just remember them telling me to get up. Nobody touched you. What's wrong with you? That kind of thing. Because I literally sat down and then I just felt my whole leg was throbbing, like boom, 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 boom.
Oh,
like
man.
This doesn't feel good. I don't think I can get up. So yeah.
You're not a doctor, but you don't think this is good.
Yeah.
Something I just thought about. We've talked kind of on the man side of it and stuff, but soccer is also outside of football. Soccer is a much gender mixed sport.
Yes.
There's soccer leagues, women's soccer leagues, mixed leagues, and the kids.
Right next to the one we were playing, there was a women's league and a men's league on the field next to us. So I mean, yeah.
And so it's not
mixed
just
teams too.
Right. So we just don't think about when we think of football, we tend to think of it strictly as a male sport. But that's changing. There are
Yeah.
some inroads in that. But yeah, soccer's, and even the youth, they don't have boy and girl leagues.
Usually not, but I know with soccer with adult leagues, you see it like over 45s and it's men and women. You see that
Yeah.
with softball too as well, actually. So I mean,
Right. Softball's another one that mixes genders. So, but
so yeah.
well, there's that's great insight to think of, like, because how much, uh, you know, you see stuff out there all the time. It's not, people say, well, I have trouble sourcing. Man, if you know what's out there and what's selling, you won't have trouble sourcing. And that's
No.
one thing to add is soccer and football. Look at the things that we've talked about today that we can start adding.
Oh yeah, there's so many things I could go off and talk about. We barely touched on it, but I mean, there's literally we started off talking about memorabilia and kind of went into adult leagues there. But I
Yeah.
mean, if you were to go into, there's action figures, there's posters, there's,
Oh yeah, great
books and like
point.
instructional videos and like, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I remember I used to play tennis a lot, and we had all these instructional VHS tapes back then, but I'm sure they're on DVD or maybe on YouTube now. I don't know, but that kind of stuff is huge too. Instructional stuff.
Oh, that's great point. I mean, like I said, posters.
Yeah.
Again, in the memorabilia, what else would be in? Yeah, and soccer instructional. That kind of blows my mind because it's a ball, you kick it, you try to get in the goal. That would be if I was the coach of a soccer. That's what you do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Basically, that's it. I remember because I used to coach the like under 14s, under 16s, and basically it was a giant. It looked like an giant orange bag full of soccer balls, maybe 20 of them, and then cones, orange cones,
Yeah.
and then and then that was it basically. But I mean, as far as the stuff the kids would bring with them, it was all kinds of stuff. In their soccer bags. I'm not sure if they had, you know, they had multiple pairs of shorts. That's another thing. Sure, and they would always match. The shorts would always match. The socks would always match the jersey. And this is at a practice. This isn't even your team jersey.
You got to look the part. That's the whole thing, isn't it? You got to look the part.
That's true.
Yeah. Now, would that stuff be to me as a parent, parents would look for that online. It's like, man, if he wants 4 pairs of shorts.
Well, one thing you were saying
next year he's out.
Yeah,
next year he's growing out of it.
I mean, back in the day, I mean, this is pre-internet. They would have these catalogs. I think it's Soccer America. They used to do it. They would send out these catalogs. Everyone would buy from catalog. And what these teams would do is they would basically give out a color, like your school, your high school, your junior high, your team would have we're blue and white. So everything would have to be blue and white. And then usually they'd pick a brand, like, we're going to have Puma, we're going to be Diodora, we're going to be Adidas, Nike, whatever it was.
Right.
And then these kids would go out and get everything in that. So the socks would be that blue and white. The shorts would be blue and white. The bags would be blue and white. The water bottles would be blue and white. The ball holders would be blue and white. All of this stuff. And I'm like, I remember they would come out to practice, and this is like a regular rec team, nothing fancy. You didn't have to, try out or anything. And I'm like, wow. I mean, if you played the way you dressed, you'd be on the World Cup team.
Well, and yeah, keep that low. Look how expansive that is, because there's church leagues, soccer church leagues. There's city soccer leagues. There's, and if they're all trying to dress the part, that's a lot of apparel that, as you and I know, most people don't resell that. They may hand it down to the next, the moms get together or the dads get together and resell. But most people just store it in a bin in their garage till they have that garage sale.
Oh yeah.
Or give it to Goodwill.
Yeah, every now and then, if you go to Goodwill and you see like a bunch of, junior T-shirts that are all the same size with different numbers on it, you know what happened. They used it one season, next season they've got a different color or a different team name or something.
Man, that's kind of a brilliant way for those companies to make money on that aspect. Is like the teams, to me, my thrifty self's going to say, no, we're going to use the same color for the next 30 years.
If it's funny you say this though, because if you go to high end areas, you'll see this with. Where did I see this? It was in San Jose, and I saw this with. I think they were golf shirts, but they were dry fit Nike dry fit golf shirts, and they had the high school logo on them.
Oh
And there was
my
like
gosh.
8 of them. So I'm like, that wasn't in different sizes. So that wasn't, but it's all the same color, the same logo, same high school insignia. But it was like 8 of them all in a row. I'm like, oh, I
Wow.
mean, that's interesting. They just,
Now, would it has a logo like that? I wouldn't grab it.
I wouldn't grab it if that's a high school logo
Yeah.
unless that's I mean, I wouldn't. What I would grab, which is kind of like I see a lot of North Face and Patagonia stuff with like ski lodge written on it. That I would grab.
That would grab. Yeah.
And then Nike
Yeah.
tournament. There are some dry fits. You'll see it with like a lot with golf tournaments. Every now and then, if it's like obviously an adult tournament, like maybe an NCAA tournament or a PGA sanctioned tournament, then you can grab that. Like Masters shirts,
Yeah.
if you can grab those, those are good. Those are
Yeah.
good sellers.
To get on the golf side. Okay, so we've talked the kids, the high school. They're going to do some cleats. They're going to do kind of like I would guess in soccer, the shin guards and that kind of stuff is like the football.
Yeah, you don't really.
You're not going to reuse. They want
Unless
new.
you're in my family, we're not going to be getting hand-me-down chain lights.
Yeah, so that's something not to look for. But what does a typical pair of soccer socks, go for a kid?
I mean,
'Cause
to be
your
honest,
your
it depends
son's
if they're logoed or not. Like if it's like Nike or Adidas socks, you can actually get them on sale for pretty cheap, like under $10 sometimes. Some of
okay.
them are expensive, but they're not that expensive. I would honestly, if you're looking to buy for yourself, go to Ross or Marshalls. That would be the best place to get those. They have a place called Big Five Sports around here, which is it's kind of like the Ross for sporting goods. But I mean, as far as reselling, those are actually really good to bundle on Amazon. Like if you have like say soccer socks and maybe not a shin guard, but like a ball bag and a ball or something like that.
Gotcha. Good point. Yeah.
That would be good. Like try not to make it too specific. Like if you do color schemes together, that's good. But like I mean that kind of stuff sells because it's a time saver for a parent. So
For the parent, yeah. That's a good point, Mo. Real good tip there that's a pro tip. Bundle on that stuff, save that parent time.
yep,
Because
definitely.
because they're going to buy it again next year.
Oh yeah.
And if they have multiple kids same age, and they're buying 2-3 outfits, got to run here, run there. Yeah, it can be time savers.
And the funny thing about kids is I've seen it where kids at the beginning of the season have shoes and then halfway through the season, like it could be like 3-4 months, they have to get another pair of sneakers. I mean, another pair of cleats because they've grown. I mean,
They grow, yeah.
yeah, especially if it's on say 13 to 17 somewhere in there.
So, all right, so you kind of talked about it a little bit when you were in your league and stuff. And this is my big question is,
Yes.
when I was in Louisiana with family, the young ones, they all played soccer. Why in God's green earth do they start playing at 8 o'clock in the morning? Can't they play that sport about 2 in the afternoon?
Well, it makes sense in California because especially I shouldn't say all year round, but at least in the summertime, because I would say 11, 12 o'clock can get pretty hot. And I imagine in Texas, in the South, in Florida, it can get super hot.
Well, they play in the fall. It's a fall. Yeah, it's definitely a fall and winter.
It's
game.
supposed to be a winter
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
I mean, the English start in, I think the league starts in late August and it goes and ends in May.
So when is the championships, those tournaments that you talk about? Is that
Tournaments
the same
are
time every year?
ironically in the summer usually, every
Okay.
2 years. Like this year, it's in the summertime in Russia. Uh, but
Oh,
here's
wow.
an interesting thing. Yeah, that's another one. That's another topic. But in 4 years, it's in what do you call it? UAE, I believe, the Emirates. and it's in the summertime there. I
It's
believe
150 degrees.
it could be more than that. With I don't know how to. So the rumor is that they're gonna push it back or pull it earlier. So or they're gonna have indoor
You have to do
stadiums
it
where it's
indoors.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They'll
but I
probably,
mean, yeah, that's crazy.
okay. That's a good point. So gear up for, if you're gearing up and planning, gear up for summertime for your tournament.
Yes. Water
Gotcha.
bottles are always great. One thing I always noticed, I remember every time I would go out, somebody forgot a water bottle. Because you see people run in late and like, oh, I don't have water. I don't have water. Do you have water? So water bottles are always, I remember, nearly as important as your cleats is, do I have a water, especially for an adult league, because you're literally pass out.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's an exhaustive. It can be an exhaustive
Yeah.
sport. So no, I'm from what I could see, I'd make like one pass and I'd be dead on the field. So, but okay. So let me show you the sports bottle in the South. We take an empty jug,
There you go.
and that's not going to happen in a soccer league, huh? You're going
No.
to have your okay.
No. It'd be a plastic bottle. You don't want any kind of. I mean, there's people that have Gatorade or something like that, but I mean, yeah. I mean, it would be generally a plastic type of bottle.
With the logo with the color of the
Yeah,
week.
you want to see my
Yeah.
water bottle? Here it is, right here.
That's your one. Exactly. Yeah, mine is a former cranberry juice cocktail that I've cleaned out. So just to,
The
'cause-
funniest thing ever. This is really going off topic. Is the guy that this guy must have been. I remember he told me his age. He was 78 years old, and we would have these soccer leagues where you could basically people wouldn't show up, so they'd have back to back to back to back games, and so if your team didn't have somebody, you could jump onto another game, and this
gotcha.
guy would show up at 8 in the morning. He played a game. He'd get game after game after game after game. I remember our game was the fourth game, and he played in our team, but we didn't have enough people. And then at the end of the game, he walked off to the sideline, opened his cooler, and he had a 12 pack, and he was handing it out. I'm like, how the hell are you drinking that now? I'm about to throw up, and you're drinking that. And he's all, well, if you don't drink it, I will. I need to go finish building my shed. And he downed it, put his container away, and then he went off. I'm like,
When I was,
this guy was 78 years old.
you go find that guy again, Mo. You get his blood
Bill.
transfused.
His name was Bill. I remember.
Bill, and that's the type. Those are those anomalies. Those are those Stanley superhumans that we need the blood transfusions from.
I mean, he looked old, but he took off his shirt. He was completely ripped.
Man, that's awesome. That I, I kudos to those people, and he did it too. You know,
Yeah.
in reality, he may have done as soon as he got in the car, as soon as he got home. He napped for 3 days.
Probably.
You know, he just did it to show every. Sometimes when you're older, you like to show the young ones, it's no big deal. Come back and go, oh man, did I get? So you never know. But kudos for playing 4 games straight.
Yeah. I mean, I played half of one. And
Bill, if you're out there, call us. Get hold of us. So, he's probably, how many years ago was that? You said 4 or 5 years ago?
maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
So he's probably 85 now. Still
Yeah.
still out there hitting it. Yeah.
Still building houses. And
Still building houses. He's the Jimmy Carter of soccer. So, just gonna keep going. So, well, that's good. Anything else, Mo? You want to wrap it up?
I think we're good. I think maybe in a later episode I'll bring in some actual memorabilia once I get it out of my garage. But I think we covered everything we wanted to right there. I think the main point there was you can sell in a subject or in one of your hobbies, and you can make good money in it if you know what to look for and do a little research. So, I mean,
always research equals knowledge equals profit.
Exactly. So we've rambled on for a bit here, but you can catch us on Facebook. We've got a group, Reseller Niche Facebook group, and we're also on iTunes. If you'd like to leave us a review, that would be fabulous. Or catch us on YouTube on a playback if you want. If you're listening to us live, thank you. If not, we will be back probably next week, and we'll be trying to mix it up and talk about different things. But for myself and for Russ, we will talk to you next time. Have a good one.